So how to successfully do your first one-on-one presentation. So here's some tips, do's and don't do's, and action steps on how to do a successful one-on-one presentation. So are you ready? So one-on-one meetings are the most personal type of meetings, right? And I'm going to copy and paste right here. They're the most personal type of meetings, and they're very effective. So they are very personal. What do you mean personal? You can relate better to the prospect, right? Because instead of, it allows you to know your prospect better and relate better to them in the presentation. So if it's someone that you know well already, you can actually customize the presentation. You can customize the presentation and really hit your hot button with stories, testimonials that can relate to your prospect. Now, if you never met the prospect before, you don't really know them well, you can ask questions and get to know them, right? As opposed to if you're doing a home meeting and you're presenting to like 5 people, and a lot of them are people I've never seen before, or acquaintances, right? You don't get to know them because you don't have enough time for them. You're talking to 5 people, but in the one-on-one, you really can get to know a prospect better, get them to open up, share them. So much better for relationship building if you don't know them. Now, if you do know them already, it's still awesome because you can customize them. So, for example, if you're in a home meeting and just say, and I'm going to extreme example, there's a janitor there, there's an accountant there, there's a doctor there, and also a retiree. Okay, as someone who's elderly and retired, 4 different type of people. It's hard to tell a story or do a presentation that relates to all 4 of them. Okay, aside from, I want to make more money, right? But that's very shallow. You all understand money is just something on the outside. For a hot button, something much more deeper inside, right? So if you're just talking about, like, janitor, accountant, doctor, retiree, it's hard. But if you're just presenting to one accountant, it's probably much easier. And also, the people better. Accountants are more, normally more analytical. You can go more into deep, stats and things like that, more facts, right? While like someone who may be an artist, creativity type, they may not want. Someone who's fun, they may not. So when you do a home meeting, it's tough. You have to satisfy all. You have to give more of a general, generic presentation. One-on-one, you can really customize and fine tune it. Okay, and I want to emphasize that I'm just put this down here so you can take some notes here. It allows you to know your prospect better and relate better to them in your presentation. As opposed to a home meeting with all types of people, right? So you can customize your presentation. And if you want to be a good presenter, this is the real secret. It's like you can make your one-on-one presentation more effective by customizing. How do you do it? Well, find out what your prospect's hot button is, and you just tell stories. Okay, tell stories. So what do you mean by that? So for example, the hot button is like, we all know the why, right? The hot button for different people. So for example, if your prospect is about to get married, right? Their hot button, it could be they want save enough money to have a dream wedding. They want to get married, they're excited, they're saving money, weddings are very expensive, and they're just saying, I want to have a nice wedding. So what I did in my presentations is, if I had a prospect like that, in my story, I would emphasize and show maybe one couple more pictures of my dream wedding, right? I had an awesome place that overlooked the entire Los Angeles area in Palos Verdes Estates. That's what I'll do, okay? Now, if my prospect has small kids, I wouldn't talk about a wedding that much because these people have married already. Assuming they're married, right? And so I would emphasize different things. I would emphasize, like, hey, network marketing has allowed me to take my kids to Disneyland on weekdays when it's not crowded. I don't need to take them during the summer. I can take them anytime I want. We have an annual pass. I do different things. I go biking my kids to the beach and things like that. While other dads, I'll go to, for example, I'll talk about a story or show pictures of when, and some of you have seen this, when I take my sons to little gym, baby gym, right? I'm like the only dad there because most dads are working. So those are the stories I'll emphasize if my prospect at the hot button was kids. Now, if my prospect like travel, right? They like to travel. I would talk about my travels in Asia, where I've been through different parts in Asia. Been to nice places and also in Mexico and Canada. Travel, like my kids have traveled, right? Even Obi has traveled. My dog Obi has flown in at least over 5 flights. We take him everywhere, and I'll show pictures of my honeymoon, like Bora Bora, one of the most beautiful places in the world. Those are the things I'll emphasize because that's what get my prospect excited because it hits them on the hot button. All right. Does that make sense? Right? So that's one of the benefits of one-on-one. I could do that. So when I do a group presentation, it's more like generic. It's just like I show a little bit of everything, but I may show something that you're like, whatever, right? So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I did a presentation that was awesome for people who are, had little kids, and everyone, the parents there loved the presentation. So it was one of the best presentations ever. Okay, again, that's just for the parents, right? And I'm not complimenting, flattering myself or bragging, but on the other side, there's like a 20-year-old Gen Y kid that said, "Hey, he actually said to his upline afterwards, that wasn't impressive. Actually, like I thought I would never signed up if I saw that." Because he just want to have party and fun, and my presentation was emphasized very heavily on kids, okay, and parenting and kids, and because most of the crowd was a much older crowd, that's what I talked about. Most of the crowd was 30 to 45. That's why I shared that, right? So, but a 20-year-old, he actually probably didn't sign. I was like, his prospect wasn't impressed. So that's again the disadvantage of a home meeting. While at a one-on-one, you can customize that. Okay. Now, so let's talk about other home benefits of home meetings. Okay, so benefits of home. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Let's take that back. Let's talk about benefits. Let's talk about the benefits of one-on-one meetings. Okay, benefits of one-on-one meetings. So we talked about it is customizable, right? Another thing as a benefit, it is simple and duplicatable, right? Very simple and duplicatable, very easy to set up. You don't need to really any setup. So, for example, no setup required, right? What else? You don't need to reserve a room. Right? Even like home meetings. Right? We've talked about home meetings before. Home meetings, sometimes you need to make sure the house is available. Right? Maybe your wife doesn't want it. Maybe you have other guests coming over. Maybe the house is a mess. Maybe the kids are going crazy. They're having fun, loud. So home sometimes is a little tougher. You have to set up. You still have to set up a home, make it presentable, right? Especially if you have kids like me, their toys are everywhere. You just have to tidy up the toys. With a one-on-one, hey, you're just meeting a person out to coffee. Right? You can meet them at a Starbucks. You can meet them at a restaurant, something like that. So you don't need to reserve a room. Okay, I should say don't need to reserve a room. To reserve a room. Another thing about home meetings, it's why it's simple and duplicate. It's something natural that people already do. It's something natural for them to do already, right? Because people meet friends to hang out. They meet friends for a drink. They meet friends for coffee. They meet friends for lunch. So something natural that people do. People in the business world, they meet friends for lunch. They meet potential business partner. There's business meetings a lot of times done during lunch. So it's natural. Another thing is, here's a big advantage, is you can present to prospects immediately. Right? So if you have a hot prospect, just say today's Monday night, and the prospect's hot, wants to learn, and your business presentation, a whole meeting that you set up, a hotel meeting is set on Thursday, what's going to happen to you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Right? Life comes up. You may lose the prospect. Prospect may be doing other things. They may get distracted. Or Wednesday night, his girlfriend wants to go watch a movie. So then he's going to cancel on you on Thursday, right? So, and then by Thursday, they probably forgot, they're not excited about the business, they may cancel. But a one-on-one presentation allows you to present to the person ASAP. So that's another advantage. Another advantage is really you can hit the hot spot of a prospect better. Again, by customizing the presentation, right? You can really hit the hot spot by customizing it, right? So you customize it. We talked about those examples already. Okay, any other benefits of one-on-one meetings? Okay, it's also inexpensive, right? They're inexpensive, quick, easy, and okay. Now let me actually write something down here. I'm going to share something with you later. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna share a little tip with you about inexpensive, and if you're meeting people for lunch, I'm gonna share that. Just pay attention, okay? I'll share that towards the end, during advanced strategy and tips. All right. If you have any questions, you can type them in. I can answer them. Now, here's some action steps for you to immediately get going. Okay, immediately for you to get going for action steps. Now, number one, you want to schedule your first one-on-one meeting. Everyone can do this week. I want you to schedule your first one-on-one meeting. You ever done it? If you've done them, schedule another one. Schedule a first one-on-one meeting. That's the first step, right? You got to talk to your prospect, invite them. You don't know how to invite, go review the training. How does three proven scripts to successfully invite your prospects. The only three scripts you need to know, right? SOW, how to invite those three type of prospects. Or you can use other system, the direct or indirect approach, invite and get them to see if they're interested and schedule that meeting. Second thing is, so the one-on-one, a great question, should be done with an upline or third person. That would be much better. And I'll share with you why in a second. All right, great question. Second step is determine how to deliver the one-on-one. Okay, how do you do? So that means, would it be Skype? Okay, so maybe the person's long distance. You don't even know. You're not going to drive 2 hours. Like you live in a city like Los Angeles. Could take an hour and a half to get there. You live in Sydney, big city, different parts of town. So it's going to be a Skype. It's going to be a webinar. Or webinar is a good tool. I like GoToMeeting, right? Like it's actually interesting because you get what you pay for. Last week, I spoke as a guest for a presentation using AnyMeeting. Right, not to bash AnyMeeting, but I've heard of issues. It's cheaper. But I talked for 10 minutes, and there's audio problems. So the poor downlines, the team didn't even get to hear me speak. Right, so that was a bummer, wasting my time, wasted everyone's time. And just remember, if you're a leader using cheap technology, your downline loses credibility for you. So, this business, we use this technology, it didn't work. So make sure, you use something that works. You get what you pay for. I like GoToMeeting. I've been using it for 3.5 years now. So it's worked. I've used other alternatives, cheaper ones, never been as good and reliable. All right. So determine how to deliver the one-on-one. So you can use, for example, Skype, webinars, right? And a webinar, I like it because even you do one-on-one, you can show slides, the screen sharing. For example, GoToMeeting is really good, really easy. So I like that. Next is you can meet at a cafe, like a location at a cafe, or at a company office, right? Etc. There's many different ways you can do the one-on-one. Third thing before you do your one-on-one, and most people don't do this, is write down your prospect's why and hot button. Okay, what's their why and hot button, and keep that in front of you. Why should you write it down? Because when you write it down, it's right there in front of you. You can focus at it. Okay, what is their why and hot button? And we talked about this before. Maybe it is, they're newlyweds. They want to save money for a wedding, or maybe they're a baby boomer. They're worried about retirement. They don't have enough money for retirement. Maybe they are Gen Y. They want to join a group just to meet people for fun, right? So write down the why and hot button. Maybe they want to prove, especially Gen Y, younger ones, they don't want to go to school. They want to prove their parents wrong, like a school. They're not a school type. They want to make a business on their own. They don't want a job route. So find out their why. Maybe they want to prove to their parents the fulfillment, the feeling good. So write down your prospects why and hot button. Keep it in front of you. Now, why do you want to do that? Because number 4 is you want to find a story or adapt your story to fit your prospects why. Okay, find a story or adapt your story to fit your prospects why. Right. So if, for example, you have your prospect's a carpenter, and uneducated, never went to college, carpenter, maybe your company has a story of a carpenter who's very successful, right? Or I shared previously on MLM Nation, like a great story of a mom, stay-at-home mom that never worked ever. Her first paycheck was a paycheck at doing network marketing. Never worked, no work experience. Right out of college, came home, had kids, and be a stay-at-home mom. So maybe you're so that's a story, right? If your company has a story like that, and your prospect was a stay-at-home mom, maybe use that story. So find out, your company probably has tons of stories. Find the story that relates most to your prospect, right? Or you can or add, I should say, or add, okay, or add your story in there. Okay. Now, some of it may be could be a product story. It could be a product story. So could be a product story. So, for example, if you got involved because you had knee pain and you took this product to help your knee pain, if you took this product to help your knee pain, then that's maybe you can share that, right? And your prospect has joint pain, right? So relate to that. And also, if your prospect has wants to lose weight, your company has great stories about losing weight. Someone that their background, choose a story that relates to them. Okay. And by the way, when you do a presentation, whatever testimony you should be giving, just don't give a testimony that doesn't relate to the prospect, because otherwise the prospect could care less. If your prospect doesn't want to lose weight and you lost a lot of weight, share the testimony that relates best to the prospect. Now, if the prospect knows a lot of people, friends that want to lose weight, then that's a great story to share too. Okay, that's weight loss is maybe not the best example I just used, because everyone knows someone that needs to lose weight. But maybe if someone that has like sore knees, right? And you have a great testimony about sore knees, probably don't, and the prospect doesn't have anyone, then probably not the, find, again, customize the prospect. Find out what the prospect, in his mind, what his problems, issues are, and his contacts. Do they have friends that have knee problems or need to lose weight? And again, so your story should always relate to the prospect, right? And that's the advantage. One-on-one, you can customize it. In a group presentation, you can't do that. So again, this is a very important step. This is what makes your presentation way more powerful. Now, the next one is you want to choose a simple, duplicatable tool or format to present. Okay, tool or format to present. So, okay, it's best, okay, this was a question before from Jason. It's best for you to not do a sales presentation for your own prospects, because the prospects always asking themselves if they can do what you did to them, right? So if you're doing one-on-one, setting up the one-on-one, if you can have your upline there, way better. Okay, if you can't have an upline there, then use the tool, right? Tool or format. The best one, the less you talk, the better. And remember, the more you talk, the more you lose. So choose the tool that you don't talk much. Okay, the more you talk, the more you lose. So choose the tool that allows you. So a video is great because you just press play. You ask your prospect. Every prospect can press play and watch something, right? So you want to keep it simple and duplicatable. So Jason, that's the answer your question. So you want to keep it simple and duplicatable. If you can't have an upline present, then use something simple. And now, even if you have to use a magazine newsletter, great. Let the magazine newsletter do the selling, not for you to do the fancy presentation. Okay. Answer your question. So remember, if you do an elaborate sales pitch, that scares prospects away because they don't think they can do what you did. Okay, most people hate to do sales, they hate to present, they hate to sell their friends. Okay, now the one thing, if you do need to talk, what can you share? What's the best thing to share? You share stories. Okay, facts tell, stories tell, because stories is natural. Everyone tells stories. We all tell stories. We all share things with friends, right? We don't do presentations, but everyone shares stories. Every time you're at a community event, you are sharing, right? You're sharing stories, what's happening. I mean, when you tell people, oh, what happened over the weekend? You're telling stories. What happened on your birthday? You're sharing stories, right? People are used to sharing stories. So if you're going to talk, make sure you're sharing stories and not like doing a sales presentation. All right. Next thing, there's something that a lot of people don't do is you want to confirm the meeting with the prospect 24 hours in advance with a takeaway deadline. So confirm meeting with prospect 24 hours in advance with takeaway deadline. So what do I mean by takeaway deadline? So for example, if I have a one-on-one with Jason tomorrow on just say on Wednesday, I'm going to call Jason on Tuesday. Say, I'm going to call him early in the morning. Hey, Jason, this is Simon. Just want to confirm with you. I want to confirm with you that we have a meeting on Wednesday. Please call me back just to confirm that we're still on. If I don't hear from you by Wednesday 9 a.m., then the meeting is canceled. Okay, you want to cancel on the prospect before they cancel on you. That's takeaway. So don't beg people to join. Again, the more people you beg, the more they run away. So push people away. The more you push people away, the more they come to you. So again, I'm going to share that. Very simple. It's posture, right? And I'm going to add that. I'm going to actually add that. I'm going to type it in right here. So I'm quoting Jason. Jason, this is Simon to confirm our meeting on Wednesday at, just say, 7 p.m. If I don't hear from you by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, the meeting is canceled. Right? Simple. Jason is Simon to confirm our meeting on Wednesday at 7 p.m. But if I don't hear from you by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, the meeting is canceled. So please text or so this is extremely important. You want to take it. Don't beg people to join. The more people you beg, the more they run away. Okay? Simple to do. Most people don't do that. And if you're scared to do that, it's because you're scared. Why? The prospect's not going to show up. They're going to say no. But let's face reality, right? The truth is, if they're not going to show up, they're not going to show up. Whether you call them or not doesn't make a difference. So you might as well know that they're not going to show up and save you time. And time is money. So make sure you call to get that confirmation. Okay. And if you cancel, that's good. That means they're not a good prospect. Maybe you can reschedule some other time, or you focus on new prospects. Don't fall in love with your prospects. There's tons of people out there. Oh, wait, any questions so far? Okay, no questions. I'm going to move on. Now, the next step is you are going to what we call the effective presentation formula. If you do have to present to your own prospect, right, and people ask you how to explain the business, you can use this effective presentation formula. Very simple. The person only wants to know 5 things. Number 1, they want to know what the industry is. Number 2, they want to know what the company is. 3, are the products easy to sell, right? It's extremely important. It's not about quality. Quality is important, but you can have the highest quality, but if they don't think they can sell it, they're not going to do the business. The product has to be something that they think they can get easy customers and sell. Okay. Number 4, the training that will be provided. Let them know it's on-the-job training. Okay. They're going to be on-the-job training where they get started. They watch you. They watch them. They're very simple, and they can get results immediately. And number 5 is how much money can they make, and how much does it cost? Okay, how much money can they make? How much does it cost? So again, I'll put the link to if you want more information about this, I'll post the link up there. Okay, an action guide, and you can take a look at it. I have a blog post written about it, but very simple. You just go over the industry, company, products, easy to sell, the training provided, and how much money can they make, and how much does it cost. All right, and I'm going to do a separate training on this later on called effective presentation formula. Now, if you are presenting to your downlines, then you can talk and do the sales presentation because it's not your prospect. So if Jason signs up and brings Rita into the business, right? And Rita brings a 3-way to Jason brings Rita for 3-way to me. Rita's a prospect, and she's not my prospect. She's Jason's prospect. Then I can go one-on-one. I can talk, all right? Because as long as Jason's not doing the talking, I'm doing the talking. Because Jason wants to let Rita know that, hey, you don't need to do sales, you don't need to do talking. As long as you bring people to a team member like Simon do all the talking, and we both make money, right? If you're at upline, you're having downlines bring presentations to you. That's the most awesome thing, right? Imagine if your downlines bring 10 presentations to you every day. You'll be so crazy busy. You'd be overwhelmed, but your business will be rocking. And you'd be able to quit your job really quickly. If you did like even 5 presentations a day, every single day, have your downlines just keep funneling prospects to you. All right. Now, if you have that, if your downlines are bringing prospects, make sure your downline doesn't talk. Because remember, the more you talk, the more you lose. So make sure you're doing the talking, not the downline who's bringing the guest in. And now, if your downline wants to talk, let them share stories. Share stories. And what type of stories? Could be 2 types of stories. Their product testimonial, right? That's a great story. And why they got started. That's another good story. So product testimonials are why they got started, are really effective things to share, right? So that's the effective presentation format. Now I'm going to share with you advanced tips. Okay, I have some advanced tips here for you. Okay, so here's a question. Should I use a company video and a three-way call right after the video? Yes, that'll be really effective. Use a company video and a three-way call. Absolutely. Because especially if you're new, again, if they ask questions, right? Use your team. That's what I did. That's how I built a business. You know, I sponsored, like I said, 80 something. 1 year I sponsored 80 something people. My goal, again, I wrote this in the Insider newsletter, is if you sponsor one person a week for 2 years and you'd be set for life. Okay, everybody should write that down. You sponsor one person a year for 2 years and you'd be set for life. And if you want, we want to sign them up. When I sponsor 80 people in a year, I never presented. Okay, my upline did all that presentation, or I send them to a teleconference. This is before we even had webinars, right? This is before we had video links, because the streaming technology was that bad. I'm kind of dating myself, showing how long I've been in network marketing, how many years I've been there. So, but later on, even my downline did it. Send the video an immediate three-way. Because I couldn't close as well. I didn't know how to close. I didn't know how to sign up, but my upline was really good at it. Any prospect that was good, watch the video. That means they're really good prospects. Immediately connect a three-way, get them on the phone. And my upline did all the talking. And basically, all I had to ask them, let's get you started. And they were all right, because my upline basically closed the deal. I was really serious. All I said was, let's get you started now, right? And they say, sure, all right, let's do it. I'll sign them up. All right. So watch the video. Same thing with webinars. Like that. Should we cover what MLMs? When you're talking, you don't need to cover what MLMs. Again, Nancy, that's a great question. It all depends, all right, on should you cover what MLM is? Your prospect, right? Some of the prospects you even need to know. Does your prospect who join your business really need to know what MLM is? Do they really need to know? They need to know in order to join the business? Really, the answer is no. Right? So someone saying someone's, I just really excited to get started. They don't really need to know. All right? Okay? So so it depends on the prospect. All right, now, question is, if the person doesn't want to talk about upline, how do I handle it? So here's the question. Right? Here's the issue. If they don't want to talk to them, it's because, right, you doing the invite for the three-way the wrong way. So if I tell you, oh, Maria, can you hold on? Let me call my team partner. Let him talk to you after this video. Of course, the person is going to say no, right? Because they will say, oh, yes, I'm going to grab this person and sell me. Right, Maria? But if I say, hey, Maria, can you hold on for a second? Or just hold on. Can you give me 1 minute? Call the person. Hey, John, can you talk to Maria? Okay, I'll give you the phone. Then you're connected. You have no choice. You have to take that call. Right? So if you say, oh, can you hold on? Do you want to talk to this? Say he's really successful. He can help you out. You can say, no, Simon, I'm okay. So don't even ask for permission. Just give him the phone. All right, Maria? Extremely important. I probably have to create a separate training. I will create I will create a separate training on that three-way. Don't ask for permission. People want to follow authority, right? If you have authority, hey, Maria, just hold on for a second. And I'll get my upline on the phone. I'll give you, hey, this guy wants to talk to you. He's really awesome, really cool guy I'm working with. Just introduce yourself to him. And then the upline would do all the talking. Now, before that meeting, make sure you tell the upline that three-way could be coming, right? You have to let them know so they expect it. So we use the text and stuff, let the person know. And then talk. And then you can do the same thing on webinars, same thing on three-way calls, teleconferences, like Skype meetings. Anytime someone watches a presentation, get the upline there. All right. By the way, you can do it on a Skype meeting too. Once the Skype meeting's over, it's three-way Skype. You could actually even do that for home meetings. After the home meeting, have the upline Skype and put the Skype on the TV on the laptop, and people can watch it. The upline can talk to the person. Okay. Use your team. People like to join teams, groups of people. Okay. And also, the more people are involved, the less skepticism. Right? People like to join groups. All right, so some advanced tips. I'm going to move on. Advanced tip is always have the prospect always sit with prospect facing the wall, right? So if you're meeting at a Starbucks cafe and have the prospect face the wall so they're not distracted. If they're facing the other way, they can see who's going in. The eyes are wandering, they're getting bored. So always have the prospect facing the wall. Limits distraction, increases them paying attention. That's something you should do for your next meeting. Okay. Now, second one is a little bit more advanced here. If you're presenting to a couple, okay, if you're presenting to a couple like this, let me see if I can show you this. All right, you see this? If you're presenting to a couple, you see this, right? You have just like a couple, female, male presenting, right? You just say the woman is really excited about the business, but the husband is no, and the husband's going to ruin the deal, right? Husband has objections, and you remember, no one's going to ever sign up if they have objections. You have to clear the answer to the objections. So what happens is when they're sitting like this, you have sitting a prospect at the table, you can't really see the eye contact. So the wife may be excited, but the husband may be giving dirty, like no looks, shaking the head. You should be facing you can't be switching back and forth, right? When you're presenting, you should be always talking to the person. So you can't see the eye contact that's going on. So the husband may actually tell the wife, say no, and you don't even know it. You don't even know, over say, wait, why did the woman over said no? Because the husband's been telling her. And you're sitting there, you can't even tell from the eye contact, right? Or the husband may be rolling the eyes, right? Rolling the eyes, and you can't even tell. Also, when you're presenting, when you're sitting this way, it's hard to go left and right talking. You should be talking to them at the same time, and you can see both of them. So because you're always reading body language. If they look really excited about something, you can go into detail of that topic. Okay, you guys all got this? Okay, extremely important. Now, so they should sit like this, because when you sit like this, you can see all the eye contact that's going on, and whether they need hidden objections. It's much easier to present as well. All right. Next thing is you need to read body language. Okay, read the body language. So read body language, because the person, read the body language, because if someone may lean in a little bit, right, that means that person may be interested. So if you're talking about your different lines of products and the prospect's leaning back, all of a sudden you talk about this one product, they're leaning in, that means the prospect may be interested in that. So maybe that's the product you talk a little bit more, or later on you emphasize that. Right? Or maybe you want to show samples, you said that's the one you emphasize, right? So you can read the prospect language. Number 4 is, number 2 was, sit where you can see eye contact with couples. 3 is read the prospect language. 4, it's a question. Simon, during the presentation, if the prospect starts looking around and not pay attention, should we continue or just cut the presentation? So if they're really looking around, right, this is what I like to do. It's like, don't pretend like, oh, you're going to convince them. Just say, hey, I've done a lot of meetings. It seems like there's a lot of things going on in your mind. Are you interested or not interested? If you're not interested, I really appreciate if you just tell me honestly. Okay, be willing to get the no. Most people are not. Here's how you stand out. Remember, people are always buying you. You want to stand out as someone that people get impressed with. Do the things that most people don't do, like be the purple cow, right? So you feel like disrespectful because they're not interested. So, Andrew, you're wasting your time, right? You feel disrespectful, and then you get annoyed, and you're going to end up doing a bad presentation anyway. So cut your loss and just say, hey, seems like there's a lot going on in your mind. I present to a lot of people, and it seems like a lot going on in your mind. Is this something you're interested in or not? Or if you're not, just let me know, and we can end the presentation, just be friends, and just go from here. And we'll part ways, and we'll stay in touch. So I'll end the presentation. Yeah, just start the presentation, but end on a good note. Just think that instead of saying, oh, you're not paying attention, say it seems like there's a lot of things going on in your mind. It's maybe now it's not a good time for you. This is not something you'd be interested to learn more about. Okay, and touch base, and then so again, you always want to end on a good note. All right. Okay. Number 4. So you want to keep the presentation simple and short. You don't need to cover everything. The question was, do we need to talk about MLM? Only if the prospect seems. You don't need to talk about MLM. Right? Don't confuse MLM once you start talking about MLM. Number 1, some people have bad experience with MLM. Some people don't understand. Most people actually don't have bad experience. There's just a misconception, a misunderstanding of MLM. Do you agree? Right? Most people actually don't have a bad experience with MLM. They just don't understand network marketing. So if you don't explain network marketing, you're just going to confuse them and you're going to lose them. Okay, Nancy, I think you answered that question. So you don't need to cover that. Now, if you are in like a country like Malaysia, Philippines, where they're really into network marketing, networking, Indonesia, yeah, you have to explain it. But in a lot of countries in the U.S., they have a misconception. They don't understand it. So only present the points that are relevant and the prospect's interested in. Okay. Next one is if you live, leverage. If you live near a company office, leverage it. If you live near company's corporate office, use it. Use the company office. The office will provide social proof. It works way better than a cafe or public location. If you're lucky to live close to your company's office, use that place because it builds belief in industry, it builds belief in company, it builds belief in products, and also builds belief in themselves. They may think, oh, how am I going to convince my prospects? My prospects now come, have coffee with me, but they'll come to a company, right? Company office, more presentable, and definitely very professional. Another last tip is a lunch meeting. In a lunch meeting, if you're meeting a person for lunch, have the person talk first. You should always finish eating first. That's the lunch tip, the lunch meeting tip. So why? Because if I'm meeting with you, I want to know what you're interested in, what your why, so I can relate better to you, right? So I'm going to ask questions and let you talk. While you talk, I should be eating. If the other person finishes eating before you do, that means you did too much talking. Instead, you should be asking questions, get to know the person, you do the eating. After you finish eating, then the prospect's going to eat. You know a lot of information. You know the hot buttons. You know the whys. You know how to connect better. You know what the products may be suitable for them. What you need to know. Do they need to talk about MLM? You don't need to talk about MLM. Even if you're showing product videos, right? Maybe I show the weight loss only. I don't need to show the other products because the person's not interested in them. You get to know. It's like kind of detective work. You get to find all that stuff out, right? Before that, during that lunch meeting. So you should always be the one who finishes eating first. All right, that's the tip. And the last thing is, I think this is, you should know this already. Before you do any one-on-one meeting, you should research the person on Facebook, learn more about them, find out what pictures they post up. You can learn a ton of things with what people post on Facebook, their profile albums, profile pictures, their mobile uploads, see what they're doing. And that, again, gives you talking points and you really have a better feel for the why so that you can customize your presentation better and relate to them. And when you can relate to a prospect better, you're just kind of giving the perfect bait for the fish, right? You're going to catch that fish. And you'll be able to also, again, it's not to manipulate prospects. You have a great business, great opportunity that can help people. Your prospects will really see the value of the business and want to partner up and want to get started. So those are some tips for how to do successful one-on-one meetings. So those are the action steps. Go schedule your first meeting. All right, schedule your first meeting. Determine how to deliver the one-on-one. For example, you can do a Skype webinar, a cafe, or meet at a company office. Third things, before you actually meet, write down your prospects' why and the hot button, and find a story or adapt your story to fit your prospects' why. Okay, and then that's really important. That's really important how you customize and relate to them. Or if you don't have stories, find a story. The company has tons of stories. Then choose a simple duplicated tool or format to present, whether it's online videos or have an upline presenting or using a magazine or a newsletter. Use the tool. That's easy and simple, and don't do much talking. If you're going to talk, share stories. And the last thing is make sure you confirm the meeting. Confirm the meeting with the prospect 24 hours in advance and with a takeaway deadline. And one last thing is get your forms ready. When your forms, I'll add one more thing is have forms ready. Ready? We'll highlight it, right? Don't just give people a blank form. Highlight the form, highlight it with the areas you have to fill out, right? So normally just the basic info, like keep it simple. How much money? What's the investment? Would it put the credit card in, and then mailing and shipping address. And sometimes you need a social security number or ID number. Keep it simple, highlight it. So when you give the application, get started, it's a very simple process. It's not like, oh, it's intimidating. Where do I start? All right, everyone, that wraps up this training on how to do successful one-on-one meetings. So go out there and let's do your first meeting this week.